This week, what we're going to do is we're going to take CSS that we have already been working with, and we are going to create menus using CSS. So there's really no web readings for this. What you're going to do is go into the lecture demo, and we got a little review on unordered lists, which are bulleted lists, because those quite often are used for menus. So we kind of take a look at the unordered list. And then for a very simple vertical menu, we go through these steps to create the menu. And basically these steps are all CSS based. So I've got the example here. I have the HTML, and then I've got the CSS that was used to create this look. So in this, we cover vertical and horizontal menus. So this would be the vertical. Okay, and a couple different layouts you can use with those. This would be a vertical with a sub menu. Okay, and there is the nested unordered list that was used to create this. And there's a couple different ways that you can use the CSS. You'll notice that this has every single element or tag, and some people get confused by that. So they prefer to use IDs. And the ID method is a little simpler for those people that prefer that. So here is basically the exact same thing using IDs. Okay, and which technique is better? Whatever is easier for you to understand is the one that you should use. Here's a horizontal navigation bar. Okay, and then here's the CSS. And then here is a horizontal navigation bar, same bar, but it's using IDs instead. You can add submenus. Submenus are nested lists. I am going to point out, and I highlighted this, it's a little different because you have your outer list, you have the opening line, and you put the entire nested list inside, which is basically your submenu. And then you have your closing line. Okay, and then of course this has to be hidden because it would look kind of funny if all of the drop downs were displayed when you loaded a page. Okay, so the CSS kind of shows you how to style all that. And then when you hover, you get the drop down. And I'm going to kind of emphasize here that with drop downs, you can't really use opacity. Opacity makes the drop down not work. Okay, also, sometimes it's a good idea to set a Z index so that your drop-down menu lands on top of any other content. Because if the drop-down is below content, you're not going to be able to access the commands. Animated menus are kind of interesting, and menu icons quite often are preferable to text. So how do we get icons? There's a couple different sources. Font Awesome is one. So this section shows you how to add little Font Awesome icons. You can add them to menus. You can add them to buttons. And this is the code that was used. You can add them to an icon bar. So here's an icon bar with little Font Awesome icons. And obviously, this is a vertical bar, but you could do a horizontal bar as well. There are HTML entities that also are little graphics or symbols. And so here are some entities, but there's also symbols that you could use in a menu or a command. It just depends on what symbols you're using. This is a hot beverage, got a skull, a peace sign, and you can control the size using font size. So here you can see these are entities, the little TV, the little camera, the little pin. Okay, those are all HTML entities, and these are the codes that correspond to those pictures. And so if you are curious, I did include links to additional HTML entities, or you could just Google HTML entities. Animated navigation buttons. Let me show you what those are. So these are little buttons that move. And again, we create those using CSS magic. So in this case, a lot of the CSS magic deals with hover and having the button, the left position of the button change on the hover. Okay, so this kind of explains how those buttons are created. And you can see I'm setting the top position for each button, which is why they don't overlap. And I've got the different colors of the button. And then on hover, we're changing the left position to 0. Okay, and you can see that the left position for all of them is starting at -80. Okay, but the width of the button is 100. So when you look at these, you're seeing 20 pixels worth of each button. And then when you hover, the left position goes to 0. And now we can see all 100 pixels. So that's kind of how it works. So what the textbook assignment is creating a bunch of different menus, including that little animated example that I just showed you. So there are videos that go with each task. I am giving you a structure to start with. So you are going to want to download and decompress this file. The video shows you how. You will end up with something that looks like this. Okay, and the directions tell you what you need to do to change the CSS. And you'll get to create the menu using the two techniques that I showed you. You will use the tags in the CSS, and then you will use IDs. Okay, so this obviously is the tag method. Okay, and then you will use the ID method. So you're going to end up copying the entire folder, and then you're going to rename it. And then you can open up your CSS and make changes to that. Okay, and so these are the changes you will have to make. But then you're also going to have to open up all of the HTML files. Okay, so you'll have to open up all of these. These are the ones with the submenu. And then you'll also have to open up all of these. And you have to put those IDs in order for them to work. This example shows you how to do a horizontal menu with a hidden submenu. And so you're going to download this Acme horizontal, kind of the same structure. And then you'll be using these CSS tags or elements here to create that horizontal menu. My profitable web design business. If you take a look at this, you will notice that it does have pull down menus. Okay. What you're going to add to this is a horizontal icon bar, and that'll be at the bottom of the page. And if you want to see how these menus were created, you can just right click and view the source. Okay. This code should look super similar. Maybe the only difference here is that I've got some gradients in here. You can see I've got a Z index. Okay, and if you can, just in case you're wondering, these are dummy links. Okay, so they don't go anywhere. But this, because this was an example, obviously. So what you're going to do is you are going to be adding the icon bar at the bottom. Do not forget to put the style sheet at the top in the head section, because that is pulling in the Font Awesome library. Without that library, you don't have any graphics. And then finally, you've got this last one with the animated side menu. So you're going to be creating little menu buttons in this page. And just for fun, hopefully you guys don't find this too annoying, I did include this little animated CSS section at the bottom. So you're going to be putting little menu buttons above that. So it's just going to be a fun little animated page. Then your lab assignment. So in this lab assignment, what you are going to do is you're going to modify your assignment page. And you are going to create 2 pull down menus, one for the textbook assignments, one for the lab assignments. So this is going to be super similar to what was done here. Okay. And the only problem that people really have had with this is they have made their buttons transparent, which looks really cool, but it does not work. Do not use opacity with this. The buttons have to be solid. Okay. And as long as you make your buttons solid, I don't think you're going to have too many problems. I did do a video that shows you how to do the conversion. And the current menu should be called assignment version 1. Okay, and the new one with the pull downs should be assignments. And then you're going to want to rename your CSS as well. So your current CSS is assignments V1. And then the new CSS for the pull downs is just going to be assignments. And this is some examples of how you're going to have to set this up. And remember, I pointed this out in the lecture, that to get these pull downs, it's a nested list, but it's a little weird because you have your opening LI here. And then you have the complete unordered list, and then you have your closing LI. At the bottom of your assignment page, you're going to add an icon navigation bar. And so again, this is going to be very similar to what you did in this page. Okay, now I want you guys to link to your own stuff and not to mine, but I did give a little example of what that was going to look like. But these are all my social media things. So if you guys don't have social media, that is okay. You can link to whatever you want. You can just do a generic YouTube link. If you are into gaming, you can do a link to a gaming site you like. If there are sites that you think are useful, you can link to those. Okay, but these, this icon bar with these links, they have to be your own. Okay, and then you're going to link all of these items to your assignment page, to each of the respective sections, and transfer everything. Okay, so that is what you're going to be working on this week. If you run into any problems or if you have questions, please let me know. I hope you guys have fun with this and have a great week.